Next, we will continue studying the first chapter of Zechariah, which says in chapter 1, God, have mercy on Zion. He will surely show mercy to Jerusalem. Let's read now. Then the angel of the Lord said, The Lord Almighty, how long will you withhold compassion from Jerusalem and the cities of Judah? These 70 years, you have been angry with them. The Lord answered the angel who was speaking with me with words full of kindness and comfort. The angel who was speaking with me said to me, Proclaim this. Thus says the Lord of hosts, I am filled with zeal for Jerusalem and Zion. I am exceedingly angry with the complacent nations. For I was only slightly angry with my people, but they made their calamity worse. Therefore, thus says the Lord, I will return to Jerusalem with mercy. My temple will be rebuilt in her. This is the declaration of the Lord Almighty. A measuring line will be stretched out over Jerusalem. Proclaim this. Thus says the Lord Almighty, my cities will again overflow with prosperity. The Lord will have mercy on Zion. He will again choose Jerusalem. This is God showing mercy to Jerusalem. That is Jerusalem. Why was God angry with them for 70 years? Because of the sins of their ancestors. God had already decreed that he would forsake them for 70 years, during which they would be taken captive to Babylon. God was greatly angered, destroyed Jerusalem. Even the temple was torn down. Finally, the Jews were taken captive to Babylon. He had previously told the prophet Jeremiah they would remain in Babylon for 70 years. The Jews would serve as slaves in Babylon. After 70 years, when the 70 years are fulfilled, only then could they repay and settle the debt they owed to God. Only then would God's anger be turned away. So now the 70 years are completed. Now, it has already been several decades later. Unexpectedly, an angel pleaded on behalf of the Jews, saying, O Lord, you have been angry with the Jews. How long will this last? Now God speaks words full of grace to this angel, saying, I am filled with zeal for Jerusalem and Zion. It is God who has mercy on Zion and mercy to Jerusalem. Moreover, God says, Jerusalem, I will return to you with compassion. My temple will be rebuilt within you. That is, after 70 years, God decided to rebuild his temple. At this time, the 70 years have already been fulfilled. Those Judeans have returned home to Judah. From Babylon back to Judah. Some have even settled in Jerusalem. But when will the temple be built? God said to the prophet Zechariah that God's temple must be built within it, and Jerusalem will surely prosper again. Unexpectedly, the Father issued a decree, so the exiled Jews returned home to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem and to rebuild the temple of the Lord. At that time, there was a famous governor of Judah named Nehemiah. He returned to rebuild Jerusalem's walls. There was also a descendant of David. There was a man named Zerubbabel. He led people back to rebuild the temple of the Lord, so that people could once again establish a covenant relationship with the Lord. Because in ancient times, their ancestors had sinned against God, seemingly breaking the covenant with God. However, after 70 years, God continues to show mercy, continues to let the people of Judah build the temple, symbolizing that God remains with the people of Judah. Keep the contract in effect. However, this covenant was abolished when Christ the Lord was crucified. But what about God? This period was still possibly several hundred years before the time when Christ would come into the world as a man. Therefore, God continues to show mercy to Jerusalem, continues to choose the people of Judah as his people, and thus allows them to continue building the temple. So today, Brother Sheha joins the brothers and sisters in building the temple. Does this mean God has chosen us as his people? Yes. God chooses a nation to be his people and lets that nation build God's temple. Originally, our 144,000 people have become the temple of God. Each of our songs is like an offering on the altar of the temple today. Father has established Christ, Brother Shibwa, and the brothers and sisters as God. God's temple, but our offerings are still not enough. Only 144,000 people. Thus, the 144,000 songs symbolize each one as a lamb or a bull offered as a sacrifice to God. Glory to the Father and the Lord. Amen.